You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel alright, the kind you wanna stay up with all night. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel whole. They won't leave your side when you lose control. The ones that don't let you lose your soul.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's podcast. I am Josh Vietti. I'm here with Gennaro Hernandez, our high school pastor at VBF, which a lot of you guys don't know that we all work at a church, but we do this to connect with you. And you may go to church, you may not. It's okay if you don't. We want to be a point of contact for you, and we will talk about God, we will talk about faith, but we're also talking about culture in this podcast. So I'm with Gennaro Hernandez. He's our guest today, filling in for Nicole. Glad to have you, Gennaro.
Glad to be here.
And we have Pastor Ron Vietti, as always, and we have Vincent Sierra, as always, and we are the Off the Mountain crew today.
And we should have started recording as soon as we came in today, huh? We all start talking about this crazy stuff, and that's what the people want to hear. But anyway, we talked about our crazy stuff, and now we're starting the podcast.
So much going on in the world right now.
So much.
And local, local stuff. We're talking about the L.A. mayor with Spencer Pratt. I'm like, I don't get into politics too much, and I don't like to talk about it, definitely from the pulpit. I think that's a sacred space. But Spencer Pratt's ads are just so interesting and so funny because there's so much corruption, dude, and he's calling it out. Whether he wins or not, I have no idea, but I don't live in L.A.
Now you got me curious.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to watch these ads.
I haven't seen these ads.
Oh, my gosh. They're so good. I can't really, I could play one, but it wouldn't make sense, and there's like some language in them. But you got to look them up. Just look up Spencer Pratt.
Didn't you say L.A., they don't check your ID?
They don't.
So what if we took 10 buses of people in our church down and voted for mayor?
I think it'd be hilarious if like the whole San Joaquin Valley, who's mostly like conservative, just went down to L.A. and voted. And then when they say, "Where do you live?" He'd be like, "Sunset Boulevard." Where do you
How
live?
about you? Sunset Boulevard.
I live on Sunset Boulevard.
I do too.
Where do you live?
We all live in Sunset Boulevard.
I live on Wilshire. That's where I live. Just make up names. It's our world is just losing their marbles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And
It's insanity. Insanity.
It's wild, man. There's problems that are just getting out of control. One of the biggest problems of our time right now is that there are medieval diseases popping back up because of the unsanitary situations with these unhoused folks, and there's so much money that is poured into helping this situation, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. And then you start hearing of corruption, and you start hearing of all these different things, and it's hard to decipher what's true. Because we just don't know. We don't have all the facts. That's the truth, right? We don't have the facts. That's why I love what Jesus said. He said, "I am the truth," and he's the only one we can rely on, honestly, not to get preachy with y'all, but that's the one we can rely on. But you look around and it's just, the people are just so competitive. There's so much hate, more hate today than ever. And I'm hoping that there's a reversal of that. I have a lot of hope in the generation of our children. I feel like they just have a good vibe about them, They're called the Alpha generation too, which I think is interesting. And then after that, it's the Omega generation, and then after that, it's the end of the world.
I think what you're saying is so true.
Just so you know.
Again, there's pure hatred for some Republicans and against the Democrats, and vice versa, Democrats against Republicans.
Oh gosh.
And back in the day, the decades ago,
and then
we just had differences.
Yeah.
But there wasn't this terrible hate for one another.
Yeah.
And it's getting worse all the time.
Well, that's just, it's, John wrote that for Christians, you would know them by their love, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like nowadays, it's like you are known for your hate, and that's just terrible. I hope that Christians, right now, Christianity's having a moment. There are revivals happening. There are people repenting and turning to Jesus and talking about God that I never thought would ever talk about God.
Right.
People like Russell Brand talking about Jesus, like it's like, what is happening,
The good are getting more vocal and radical, and the bad are getting more vocal.
Well, there's people
and
getting saved that you never would think that they would have. And so God is moving, but at the same time, evil is rising. And I think it's the other way around. I think evil is rising and God is raising up, a standard that is always higher. And I think that's the way it goes. And so on one hand, you have evil and stupidity goes along with it. And then on the other hand, you have people that are turning to God and relying on God, who is all wise, who is all knowing, who, as you know, kind of has all the answers. And so if we want to see that God, it's almost like the other bad stuff has to happen in a way. Does that make sense? Like I don't know.
You have to go through it.
You have to go through it. Yeah.
Again, though, how widespread do you think this hate is? I mean, we see it for sure on social media, see it on some on television. But for your average, everyday person, has it spread to us? I mean, I don't see it among our congregation and people that we are in contact with every day.
When it comes to a situation that affects you, I think you start changing your mind. Like, for example, in LA, I just read there was a fire underneath the 110 freeway, and they're blaming it on unhoused people, okay? Which, happens quite often. It happens in our town. I live by the river here in Bakersfield.
It just happened on the 178.
Yes, right.
A couple days ago.
But the 110, they said it's closed. I read this, and it might not be the case now. They're pretty quick at fixing things, especially in LA. But it said that it was closed indefinitely. Like, they didn't know how long it was going to take to fix.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, well, now it's going to affect people's commute. They don't care about the person that's down there, that's on drugs, that's sick, that's dying, basically, killing themselves. But they care about their commute, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not, I understand, like, it's frustrating when you can't get to work, but there's a bigger issue, and the humanity of it needs to be kind of shown. I think like there's people that are on the street right now, and I just saw this. I saw a young lady. She seemed young. She seemed like too young to be on the street. Just about an hour ago, and she was walking quickly. She was obviously probably on something. I don't know what, but you can just tell something's up. I'm thinking, like, how many of us care about these people, enough to help them, but a lot of them don't want help too, but some do. Vince, you met some people this week. It's,
It was crazy. We're in Serve Week this week still, and we went and did a outreach in a park. The whole church showed up. It was pretty amazing. And I got into a conversation with a homeless person, and he was saying that I asked him, where are you from? What's your story? Like, it isn't just, it wasn't just like, hey, can I get you some food? I just wanted to know a little bit about him. And he's like, hey, yeah, I'm from Texas, and somebody suggested that I come out to California because of the weather. So they bought him a bus pass and sent him from Texas to California. So not even from California. And then when he was in Los Angeles, they said, hey, you're gonna get no help here. And so they gave him a bus pass to Bakersfield. And so it's like everybody wants to pass the buck.
Yeah.
Nobody actually wants to take.
That's a great way to handle a situation. Like, hey, somebody's hurting. They need help. Here's a bus pass. Go somewhere else.
Yeah, right.
They're all passing the buck.
Right.
Yeah. It's terrible.
Leave here. Go there.
It's terrible.
Take your problems.
But I will give credit where credit's due. Here in Bakersfield, there are a lot of resources, but they're overwhelmed too. But places like the Mission is amazing. It really is an amazing place, but they have strict rules, and a lot of people can't follow those rules, so they can't stay. But the people that do follow those rules and go through, I've seen people go through the Mission and become very successful in life.
Really?
You
said two things I want to comment on. You said, I've never heard that term used, unhoused people.
It's just.
Are you not supposed to say homeless anymore?
They say it's derogatory, but I'm
you
just
have
used
to be kidding me.
The world I'm in.
I just used it, and when I said it out loud, I was like, oh wait, Josh changed the term.
I definitely don't care.
I'm sick and tired of this changing the vocabulary all the time.
I know, it's silly.
Come on, man.
It's just the world I'm in with
get a life.
Social work.
Get a life.
Here's the difference. If you're out actually helping people, I think you can do whatever. I think you can say whatever you need to say.
Yeah.
If you're actually
don't
making
stress
a difference,
about it. Yeah.
Don't stress about it.
I agree.
Well, you know what you said.
What about Gennaro? Do you like to be called Latinx?
Yeah. Actually, that doesn't sound that bad.
Doesn't sound that bad.
That sounds pretty
That's
cool.
True.
But you said something else. You said some don't.
I just call you a man, Gennaro.
Some don't want help, and I think that's true. Probably a lot of them don't want help. But you asked me to come up and speak Saturday at the thing we were doing in the park, going out to feed and help the unhoused people.
You guys are learning a new term.
And so, I was reflecting back on my work with the homeless through the decades. And it just so happened that the park you were in Saturday was a park that we were kicked out of decades ago. At that time, Bakersfield had some different leaders, and they said we were bringing the homeless downtown, and they didn't want us to feed them, help them, or anything downtown. And we wouldn't leave. So finally they said, you know what, we have to close the park down just to make some repairs for 2 or 3 days. So would you at least leave for that? Okay, we'll leave for that. And they passed something, some kind of addendum thing that wouldn't let us back in. But I remember so much. One day I was in that park, and it came back to me Saturday. And I was speaking, where I was speaking at, the platform was right there almost where it happened. And I looked out and I saw the line of people getting food. We were serving them. And I saw a guy I recognized. He was a leader in our church, really cool guy at one time. And I said, Gary? He said, hey, Pastor. I said, what are you doing? You're here getting food? He said, man, I hit some hard times, real hard times. He said, I lost my job, and my wife and I had a falling out, and he went on and on. And no joke, I prayed a quick prayer with him. I went on my way. We were doing a lot of projects that day. And 3 weeks later, he died underneath the overpass over there by the rescue mission. He got beat up. And I could have kicked myself when I heard that going. I wasn't present in the moment. I could have done more. There are people that do want help. And then I also told the story of the 2 guys in Vegas. We were in Vegas. We did street work at the mission down there. And one day, I forgot what I was doing. I was praying with somebody. It was after we'd already done a little service, and we'd fed them. And this black guy and white guy together, they were over there talking to another pastor, and one of them started singing songs. And I felt I had a God moment. And I said, you know, I went over to them before I even talked to my wife. And I said, hey, you guys, would you come home with me if I bring you home with me? I want to work with you guys. I feel like, you know, we can change some things in your life. And of course, your mother heard me and grabbed me and said, come here, we got to talk a moment. We don't know those guys. We're not taking them home with us. And I said, why not? She says, Ron, we don't know them. They could be violent. They could be whatever. So I said, then I'll give them bus tickets to Bakersfield. And she says, well, fat chance you're ever going to see that money again. And sure enough, they both arrived in a bus within the next few days.
And then they were sent to L.A. and then they were sent back.
Yeah,
to
no. We had a success story with one of them. The other one we didn't.
They want to help. Yeah, they're helping.
Although
work
I did, like a dummy, put them in a hotel that night. And I signed up the hotel. I put them in it, left, came back, and I guess they'd watched porn all night long. On my name was on that hotel room. I begged the guys in front, look, you got to destroy that file. That wasn't my room. That was their room. But these 2 guys, a success story, they wanted help and they got it. But the biggest one was, and you can still pull this up on the internet somewhere. I don't know exactly where it's at. But I mean, this was years ago. I know a lot of pastors have done this since then, but I think I was one of the first. I had this idea because we were speaking that Sunday on helping those that were homeless. And I was in Vegas for some reason. I was coming back to Bakersfield, and I spent like $150 on my outfit. I got a beard. I put food all in it, man. I got the long hair. I got the stuff to make scars on my face. I mean, I went all out. And so I laid outside the church that Sunday. And they mic'd me up, and they were filming me. They were from a classroom. And so we have it on video somewhere. And I had all kinds of people pass me. And I got probably 20 waters that day. I probably got $100 money given to me. But I had an epiphany. I think that's a good word, or a spiritual revelation as I lay there. And it was so real. I know it was straight from God. All of a sudden, it was like I wasn't playing a role anymore. I was actually homeless. I felt it. And something inside of me was crying out. I don't really care about your water and your money as much as I want someone to ask about me. Where I came from, how did I get here? What can we do for you? Do you have family? And it was so real. I really believe it's from God. And I'll never forget it.
Well, so it's funny that we brought up at the beginning the terms like homeless, unhoused, whatever. Honestly, both of those things mean the exact same thing, which is silly. But the term isn't really correct either way, because there are people that don't have a home. But then there are a lot of people that are just street people. Like
Right.
they have places to sleep, but they're out hustling on the streets. And there's a lot of times there's a criminal element to that. And so what you have, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about the people who stand on the street corner with the cardboard sign, ask for money.
Right.
I said, well, those people have handlers. Like, there's people that are running those situations,
Wow.
and they have to give their cut. to
Really?
those
See, I did
people.
not know this.
Yeah. So, and that's the situation. That's the way it is. That's why. Have you ever seen? Have you ever been on a corner and you saw like a conflict between two people talking? They're just
Yes.
talking. You know,
Yeah.
they're usually it's like that street corner belongs to
I've
this
seen a
person.
fight
That's
over a
under
street
this.
corner.
That's under
Yeah.
this guy or this
Mhm.
person or this group. Like it's criminal activity that's happening out there. And so, but the police are overwhelmed. So it's like, gosh, man, it's such a big issue. But it's like, for the very first thing you got to do to look at the situation is you have to realize that not everyone out there is the same, and some have made choices to deliberately get to that point,
Mm-hmm.
but that's like not the majority. The majority, I mean, they didn't like decide I'm gonna be on the street today. It's you know, it started in childhood trauma. You know, their parents might have been on drugs. There's all kinds of factors that lead people to that situation. Some do fall on hard times, like your friend. You know, I met somebody in Vegas that said that they went to Vegas on vacation, lost everything gambling, and they became unhoused or homeless. Right? Like
Yeah.
they didn't have anything. So I've met people like that, but then there's people that are just drug addicts. There's people that are in and out of prison. There are people that that are in organized crime, that are out on the streets running it. And there's all kinds of different things going on. And so, in order to really truly fix the situation, you have to meet people where they are, find out if they would like to change, and like to have help. And
Yeah.
like to get out of the situation. And I think most of them probably would say yes, but then there's the hangups of like, okay, well, it's like the whole prostitution thing. Like if you find somebody who is working the streets, you're like, hey, you want to help, but they're afraid of their handler, they're afraid of their pimps and all this stuff, right? And
So
then
you're
the
saying they're organized?
I'm saying that there's a lot more organization than people realize.
I never thought of that.
On the streets. And
Wow.
so you have to be kind of careful with how you go about it, but at the same time, each person is different. Like you said, you brought two people from Vegas, right?
Right.
You invested in two people. One of them did well. One of them
I think
didn't.
both of them did well for quite a while. But one of them, he got in trouble here and he had to leave. But they were with us for quite a long time. So I think we made deep impressions on both of them.
Yeah.
It wasn't for nothing. I mean, we went and bought them new clothes. And
Yeah.
so I think we have success stories.
Well, one of the things I do appreciate that the government is doing is going after the cartels and going after like the drugs, because I think that,
They use them.
well, yeah, I mean, obviously
Yeah.
the drugs are like a
Right.
commodity on the streets. And so going after that is going to help a lot because people are addicted. And if they're addicted, they're going to continue to be addicted.
Well, we brought a bunch of homeless people that were homeless because of what? It was a hurricane. It was a hurricane.
Katrina.
And hurricane, yeah, right. And we brought them back from Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
wild.
we brought how many back? Probably 12, 14.
There's a lot. Some flew. Some
And-
drove in our car.
That was a terribly sad situation.
But,
'cause you had
let me
people-
make my point. I heard one of them still here.
Oh, really?
I heard she settled here
Wow.
and has done well. I mean, we thought that it was all just a big mistake because we brought them here and they were shacking up and they were ripping people off. And we thought, man, what did we do?
Yeah.
And we thought, no success to that story. But I heard one of them stayed and is doing really good. Still in, as far as I know, still in Bakersfield.
I think when it comes down to it, helping people is
it's a crapshoot.
you got to get your hands dirty, man.
Yeah.
You got to get
Well,
in
you
there,
got you got to know that most of them you might not have success with, but there's always that one.
Yeah.
There's that one,
Hmm.
and sometimes you have to go through a lot of them to get to that one.
On Saturday, there's so many cool things that happened. But another thing that happened on Saturday, there's this guy that showed up, and he just started helping us. He's just hustling with us, like helping us load trucks and stuff. I haven't seen this guy, so I went over and talked to him. Actually, John Mingo, one of our employees' husbands, brought him over and was like, "Hey, this guy wants to talk to you." And ended up being he's sleeping in his car. He didn't have a place to stay anymore because him and his wife got into it. Anyways, so we basically got into his story, and then prayed for him, and he helped us the whole time. Helped us unload the truck. And so I said to him, "Hey, why don't you come to church on Sunday? Like if you're going through a hard, we can help with the temporary problem, but church is gonna,
Right.
getting into a community is gonna be way better." And then he showed up on Sunday.
Wow.
He impressed me,
That's
right?
cool.
So he was
Wow.
there. I was walking through. He's in the back. I don't want to say his name, but
Yeah.
he was in the back. So I shook his hand. Then he called me today.
Huh.
And he's like, hey, he's like, I really need to get a shower. So,
Yeah.
like, hey, let us get you a room.
Sure.
So we
Yeah.
can get you a shower.
Absolutely.
And I was like, hey, there's church tonight. He's like, I'll see you there. So I
That's
mean,
cool.
how
That's really cool.
cool is that?
Well, so I think.
So I mean, there is times
Yeah.
where you just don't know,
Right. And
then there's times where it works out.
And the truth is, every little bit matters. Every little bit makes a difference. And so, like, you can't get caught up in results or not results. Like, if you're doing something that matters. I was listening to a missionary one time at Hume Lake, and the missionary got up and did their whole talk about what they do and everything. But one thing stuck out to me. At the very end, he said, hey, like, I've talked to a lot of people, and I've learned this one thing, that most people won't do anything because they can't do everything. And when he said that, what he meant was they want to see major results from their effort, or they want to see that they can actually make a difference, or they want to see that their effort even matters, right? And when you don't see that, it's like, well, why even try at all? But the truth is, every little bit matters a lot.
Yeah.
It really does. And I think if everyone saw our community problems as our community problems, not just the problems of the government, or not just the problems of the church leaders, but all of it's our entire community's problem.
Right.
That I think that would change things.
But that's the problem, because I think a lot of people, when they think about, when you said the government, right? They think about all the taxes that they pay and all this extra stuff, and they're like, man, the government should be taking care of this. Like, where is this money going? We were talking about it before the podcast started. And, I don't want to get into the weeds of corruption, but
there is corruption.
There's so much corruption, right? And we know it's actually starting to come out. I mean, thank goodness for honest journalism and investigation, because now some of this corruption's coming out.
Thank goodness for Elon Musk allowing for it.
And so now you have people
serious.
that are just saying, like, we're paying an absorbent amount to go to this, or we've donated to that, and they're not seeing a push at all. So they're like, no, nothing must matter anymore.
Right.
We've given lots and lots of money, and there's no differences being made.
Oh, it makes you jaded.
Right.
Well, you said something right there, and I think that's where the church comes in. I know I tried to do this for years, and I'm sure you are too, but you said people want to see if their effort really matters. For example, I proposed for years that we do missionary donations, and because we have a lot of missions in Africa, and we'd say we got to get these kind of items, go out and pick a toy for the kids, on and on. Then when we make our missionary trips, we video it, and you see your toy actually being given away.
Yep.
That blows you away. Sponsor Kids for Camp. If those kids would come back and actually write us a letter while they were at camp, maybe when they came home, that shows me that my effort really did matter.
Yeah.
And I think as a church, we need to go out of our way to make sure that when people give, we come up with some really creative programs where we can show them that their effort did matter.
We just had a
Made a
meeting.
difference.
We just had a staff meeting today. Gennaro was in there, and we are just saying not this Sunday because it's Mother's Day and we want to honor our mothers, but next Monday we get to spend time talking about the impact we've made in Mexico. Oh, like, it's so just people giving just a little bit. We've been able to go into like the craziest parts of Mexico and minister to kids and to families. In Africa, you've seen the photos that Dr. Nalos has sent us, and just all the things we're doing, and then locally, just all the things. And so next on that 2 Sundays from now, we're going to spend that whole a big chunk of announcements just.
Who's going to
honoring-
Mexico?
Oh man, you just put me on a spot for her name.
I know who you're talking about.
Yes,
Is it Maribel?
Maribel.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just thank you.
So
But
she's going down.
Maribel's amazing, and you should see on this Sunday. These promos are so awesome, but they're doing promos in Spanish down there, and it says, Gennaro would be better, but it's like, this and this, and then it's like, and Valley Bible Fellowship, and so these promos that they're creating down in like the roughest neighborhoods in Mexico, but they've basically coined us as a church down. Like there's a VBF church in Mexico because of Maribel heard God. And then we've equipped her to go into Mexico and do
That's
the
great.
work.
She's
and
really
so it's
sweet.
been amazing.
I want to go back to Mexico so bad.
Well, she
Some
says
of my
we can
most
go now.
fond memories. Really?
She says
Where does she go?
to the Guadalajara. Yeah, like a
Guadalajara,
neighborhood.
yeah.
Some of my best memories are from Mexico when we went down to Mulaje.
Mm-hmm.
And I miss it so much. We were so fruitful.
I
And then,
love
of course,
Mexico.
in Mulaje, they said the cartel came in there and probably we couldn't go anymore. We were being advised not to. But
She wants us to go. She says
I think
she
it'd be
thinks it's
great.
safe, and
think it'd
she
be
has a lot of
great.
family down there, and I would love to.
Well,
go
you know
back.
what? I'll go on that trip. I love Mexico. Love it.
There it is, Maribel.
Yes,
We're going.
I will go.
We have family there, actually.
Guadalajara.
You do?
Mhm. Yeah.
Nice.
Do you
Yeah.
see them very often?
No, after high school, we kind of stopped traveling over there because it was getting bad. But my
I know some
grandma,
people from there too.
my grandma had 13 kids. 4 of them live here in the States, and the rest live in Guadalajara.
It's a big.
Yeah, it's big.
It's a city, right?
Mhm,
Guadalajara.
mhm.
It's a huge city. Yeah.
I am, talking about helping others, and it's always hard, and I have conversations with people all the time about it because, nowadays we live in a society where everyone's so busy. You're so and it's so much easier to
Give money.
give money, or some people justify it and just say, oh well, I said a prayer for them, and that's enough. But there's no follow through. And so as a believer, what is our role when it comes to not just showing compassion, but actually following through and helping others?
Yeah, well, there has to be follow up. Needs to be a plan first.
Mm-hmm.
Before we just strike out there and do something, we got to get a plan and say, hey, here, here's, X, Y, Z.
Mm-hmm.
We're going. Here's what we hope to accomplish. If we do accomplish it, then here's what we're going to do with it. And I think there's got to be a plan. I think so often we just, we shoot in the dark. A lot of churches every year, Easter, we're all going down to Mexico. We're going to give away 100 Bibles. But there's no plan. We do it and come home. Now, this was way before your day, but we had something called Operation Outreach. And I think for a year and a half, it was a long time. Every weekend we went down, sent a team down to Mexico. And we would take a certain village, and we went down with a plan. We said we're going to send another team down and scout out some things before we go. And if people need roofs or they need, food, they need something to cook with. And then we brought that stuff down. And we went every week to basically the same village until we felt we were through there, and we'd go to another one. And they got used to us coming. And we even had a plan like, don't stuff the gospel down their throat. I've said to some people who do these Easter things once a year, and they go down, and we gave away 100 Bibles. Well, that's all cool, but more than likely they threw your Bibles in the trash, or they used them to start a fire with, or whatever. They did it so you would give them more in some cases. Now, there might be a few good testimonies that come out of that. But, we had a plan, and we knew what we were going to do when we went down there. We said, don't go down and try to stuff the gospel down their throat. That's not where we're going. Some of these other people go down once a year. That's what they try to do. But I said, let's go in and say, Jose, we noticed the team that was down here before you got a bad roof. We brought some supplies down, and we found out where we can buy some more over here. We're going to fix your roof. And so you fix his roof. You invite him to dinner and stuff. And by the way, we do have a Bible study tomorrow morning. We'd love you to come. But it's not your major thing. Your major thing is helping them and loving them. Mm-hmm. Anyway, you have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're just shooting in the dark so often. Does that make sense? Probably didn't answer your question. But
No, it did 100%. Because I was reading, there was this the story, the parable of the Good Samaritan, right? And you see this guy, you have a priest and a Levite, know the law. They know, sacrifice. I'm sure they study it, but yet, they pass by the need. And then you have the Samaritan that comes by, and he doesn't just bandage, like he could have just bandaged up his wounds, and then they called it a day. Right, but it says he put him on his beast, he takes him to the inn, gives the denarii, comes back and says, hey, whatever else is needed, I'll pay for. So, reading that, I'm going, is that the, the method? Is that what we're called to do? Not just, say hope for the best, but the follow through. But that
okay.
answered the question.
It's so much easier just to throw money at a problem.
It is 100%.
And walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how these guys on the streets survive, and that's how this whole racket continues, because people, when they hand them $5, it makes them feel better from whatever they're going through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's necessarily always bad to give somebody money, but 99 out of 100 times it's probably not the best move, because
it is bad very often, though, Josh. We had a lady some time back pleading with people on social media, don't give money to my kid out there.
Yeah.
He goes and buys drugs with it.
Right.
And he's
Right.
got a place to stay.
Right.
He has everything.
Right.
And so very often it can be an injustice to give them money and just walk away.
And I heard the craziest thing that you can get for $10. You can buy what's the drug that everybody's dying from?
Fentanyl.
Oh,
Fentanyl. You can buy a hit of fentanyl for $10.
That's crazy.
So you think you're giving somebody $10 on the street, and I'm not saying if God tells you to give $10, and
Yeah.
but that $10 could be, a death sentence for them.
100%.
And you don't think about $10.
Often is.
That's just crazy to think $10. But I think the bigger plan, it has to be bringing people in the community, right? Because if somebody's part of a community or you're bringing them into the community, then you can take care of the need, right? In Acts, it demonstrates this beautifully, where it's like the people were part of a community, they were selling their possessions and giving to one another, and they had an understanding because they had relationship. And it's a lot harder to understand the need when you're not in community, you
Yeah.
know? And so I think, and again, you mentioned as a larger community, Bakersfield, I consider people not just inside of our church, but outside of the walls of the church, our community.
And we have events like Saturday we had, and the whole week we're doing
Right.
stuff at the church. But Saturday there was the big meetup at the park downtown, where we got together, worshipped, and then everybody kind of went out and did their own projects. What I loved seeing there was kids there. Your kids were there. My kids weren't able to be there because they had
Sports,
But and so no shade on other people that did the same, But that was my mission field for the day. Somebody asked me, "Where are you going? What's your project?" I was like, "I'm gonna go to my
Sportsfield.
kid's soccer game
Yeah.
and be there with the families." Because the thing is, it's like that's taking me into a whole different thought process right now. But my point, going back to the kid thing, if you're the parents see, or the kid sees the parents doing something good like that, that has such a lasting impression on them, a huge impression on them, even a little bit here and there. I remember Dad growing up, you would always help people. You just did. I mean, somebody said, "Hey, can I get some food?" And you always taught me, we will get them food. If they ask for food, we're going to get them some food.
It's you don't ever pass them up.
Yeah. And that's a rule that I have in my house as well now. And so my kids know that rule, And one day we went out and handed out waters, and my kids are like, "That's so good that we did that." They got so pumped,
That's awesome.
And so that stuff is lasting. But then there are days where, my kids turned over and they've seen a couple naked dudes running around downtown, And so the best thing I could do is make a joke about it and move on. Like, let's move on, from that. Now,
And they're durable. They're tough.
this sounds terrible. I should have went back and helped the guy out, but this guy was like bathing in it. It was like a situation. It was like probably should have called the police, but it was in a public. Anyway, point being is I couldn't have really done much there. But you think of the situation where there's a lot of learning opportunities for our kids, and if they see us modeling it well, then then they're gonna grow up and do the same. And if they don't see us modeling it, like if they see us having an attitude, "Oh gosh, oh no, this person wants money, oh gosh, if it's that attitude, your kids are gonna develop that attitude as well. And so I think paying attention is really important. That's what the Good Samaritan did first. He paid attention, but then he felt led to take it further.
I was at Hobby Lobby not too long ago, and we went in and came out, or we're going to go in. I think we're going in. And this guy approached me. He's probably 50-some years old. He was homeless, but didn't look, like a lot of homeless. He looked pretty good. And he said, "Man, I'm really, really hungry. I want something to eat." And I said, "Well, I have a value. That is, I never turn anybody down for food." And so I said, "See that over there, whatever it was, I think it was the sandwich place." And I said, "Meet me over there in about 5 minutes, and I'll be there." And so I went over, and your mother was shopping, and I said, "I'll be a while." And I went over and went in and bought him his meal, and then I sat down with him. I said, "Tell me your story." And it was really sad. He said, "I got into alcohol, and my family, I have a daughter and a son, and they want nothing to do with me anymore, and I understand why. I burn them." Anyway, he told me the whole story. Just broke my heart, and I thought that could happen to anybody, probably.
Yeah.
Not anybody, but to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And anyway, I helped him through it. It was a long story. But I want to also tell you, follow-up, how it's important. I was in New York some time back, and it was me and my son-in-law, Jim Cruz, and my daughter, Tara. Tara was sick in the hotel, and Jim and I went. We were going back to the room. She was sick. We were going to let her lay down, and Jim and I were going to go out and hustle up some food somewhere. And So this guy was sitting there. It was a really cold night. It was snowing. There was a dude sitting there, man. He was shaking just all over the place. And I walked by. You okay? I need a place to get warm. You know, I'm hurting. I says, there's no place you can get warm. You can't. The police won't help you. No, they said all the homeless shelters are full. And he says, sometimes I get a taxi and I ride around to get warm, but then they finally kick me out and I don't know what to do. And so I passed him. I thought, this guy could be a gamer. But my conscience kept bothering me. So I went by him 2 more times. I said, let's go back. We put Tara in the hotel room. She was resting. Finally, I said, man, I'm going to have to give this guy. I said, you promise me you'll use it? Yes, I promise. I gave it to him. And then after I gave it to him, I walked a little ways away and I thought, man, this guy could be a gamer. So I followed him down through like Grand Central Station or wherever we were at, is Subways. I went Subway, probably 30 minutes. And doggone, if he didn't walk up to some guys, started laughing and pulled the money out and started sharing it with them. You know what I did? I took it away from him. I went up and took it away from these 2 guys.
Dang.
I took my money and said, I'll beat the crap out of it if you try to stop this. I mean, I was mad. That's a good thing for a pastor to say, but I was mad.
Yeah.
And I got my money back.
Well,
And
sometimes
I felt pretty good. That's follow-up.
you know, sometimes you got to help them.
That's where you
Sometimes
follow up.
Sometimes you got to punch them. You know what I mean?
That's
It
a
is
good
what it is.
follow-up.
It is.
It's you know, tough love.
I had a rough day, and I think I used that language. I'll beat the crap out of you if you try to stop me.
Yeah.
I was mad. I was running, hiding behind
You're
pillars, and
lucky
trying to
to get
watch, see where they were
stabbed,
going.
man.
I
I know.
know.
Today I'd be dumb to do that today.
Yeah.
But anyway, back then, it was a few years back.
Well,
So-
it's hard because, you know, our church has a food room. We have a lot of resources that we can give, but then the city has a lot of resources. But then, you know, you try to connect people with resources, and it's like pulling teeth sometimes. It's really interesting how people's minds play tricks on them when they're living out. Like I met this couple one day. We were doing one of the serve days, and I was out off the highway, and there was a tent, and I knew a couple was living there, so I went and talked to them. The sweetest people in the world. They were so nice. They were so kind. And I was like, hey, like, you know, there's a shelter over here. I work for a church. I can help you get into this shelter. I can help, you know. They're like, oh, sweetie, you know, thank you so much, but we have our cats. Like literally they had a bunch of cats there, and they didn't want to leave the cats. Like they didn't want to leave their situation. And I was like thinking to myself, like, why? Why, you know? And it bummed me out a little bit, but I was just like, some people just, you know, they're afraid probably of what it looks like to get help, because they can't see beyond that. They can only see, I'm going to go there and they're going to give me rules. And they're going to take my cats, or they're going to, you know, not allow me to be who I am, whatever, you know. And so I think like when you sit down with somebody like you did, Dad, and talk to them and hear their story, then you might be able to build a little rapport.
I try to do that now.
It takes a lot of time and effort.
Whenever I can. Sometimes I'm busy and I can't do it.
Yeah.
But I've taken on another level to my value system, and that is, and what I do, it helps me. I know I have things I have to do, but usually if I can sit somewhere and somehow get a view of a clock and go, hey, you can give 15 minutes. 15.
Yeah.
That won't kill you.
Yeah.
I know you have things to do.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of watch the clock.
And
and listen to them, and
the other
then,
day,
say, you know, I'm gonna have to go. But here's what I can do to help you.
Yeah.
I try to think of the next step while I'm talking to
No,
them.
you're right.
Is there
though.
follow up here?
Yeah.
His burden is light. You know, Jesus is.
Yes.
She said that my yoke is easy, my
Right.
burden is light. The other day, I saw a guy, and I felt it in my spirit that I needed to talk to him. You know, and need to reach out. So I see this guy, and I like turn right. He's right across the street in front of me, and I'm pulling out. And so I turn right. And then I'm like, I've got to go back. And so I made a U-turn. I came back, and I didn't have any money, which I didn't feel like I needed to give him money anyway. But I had like a drink. It was like a caffeinated drink, something he probably didn't need. But I was like, this is all I have, man. I was like, I got this, and I got prayer. And I was like, you know, can I give you this? And he's like, no. He's like, I don't need that drink, but I'll take that prayer.
That's cool.
And I just prayed with them, and that was it. I didn't give him anything. Nothing came out of my pocket.
Have you
and
noticed hardly none
it
of
takes a
them?
lot of time, you know.
I mean, in my cases, I don't see many of them that will turn down prayer.
You know, it does bring a good point, though. Like, how many times do we pray and ask God for a blessing and then squander it?
100%.
You know?
Yeah. Or don't recognize the blessing.
Or don't
when
recognize
comes.
it, yeah.
I heard a really cool take. Theo Vaughn, who's a podcaster. I don't know if you guys know who he is.
Yeah.
He was talking about finding Jesus, and he's starting to find he's starting
Faith.
to come faith, right?
Yeah.
He's starting to find. And one of the things that he mentioned, I don't know if it was last week in a podcast, I heard a clip. He said, you know, I'm not sure about where I'm at with God, but I do know Jesus went to this paralytic man and said, you know, do you want to be healed? And so he's like, I started asking myself the question, do I want to be healed? Do I want to walk? And I think that's where everybody, like when you're helping somebody, they have to want to be
It's
healed.
a profound question.
It is,
But you're
profound.
right.
Like,
Jesus did ask them.
He asked him.
that
He didn't just heal him. He
Yeah.
didn't just say you're healed, boom, and touch him and
You're right.
and walk. He asked him, do
Because
you want to be healed?
With the and I think it's the one by the pool of Bethesda, and they would lower him in. That story, that guy had a level of comfort being where he was at. Like he was being taken, like people would bring him food, they would put him in the pool.
He had a system.
They would he had a comfort level. And if you want to get healed, that often
Changes
comes
it.
with what? Responsibility eventually. It comes with working, having to work and doing all these things. And so, yeah, that's a great question that if you were to ask and you're able to have a potion that made people honest,
Have you ever asked
Then-
homeless people? I have several times back in the day. I'll work for food. They have a sign, and I tell them, okay, if I give you a rake and a hoe, will you go down and I'll give you a lot per hour.
Yeah.
But I want you, and many of them will turn you down.
Yeah.
Because some don't want
Right.
to work for it. But that's what your sign says.
Right.
And there's others that have taken me up on it.
Well, there's great programs like we talked about, like Teen Challenge here in Kern County. I know it's in other places too. That will get you off the street if you want to get off drugs.
Yeah.
But you have to want it.
In this area, we got Teen Challenge, we got the Mission, we got Flood, who's
Yeah.
awesome. We've got the county does a little bit, but I feel like there's a lot of really good resources in this town. Church Without Walls does quite a bit. There's a lot that do some good work, and so but those people, their goal is to get you back into a healthy, place where you can be a part of society again. And some people just don't want to be part of society. And so that is a good question. And I don't know what you do for those people like that. I think unfortunately they have to learn the hard way. They're going to have to go through some harder times. It's not hard enough for them yet.
I've had a time or two where I've told them that. I said, you know what, I'll get you dinner, I'll do everything, but you're going to work for it.
Yeah.
And I've had one or two times where they said, okay, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And so let's get dinner first. And then, of course, I go, hey, you know what? You said you would do it. And that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah.
I don't really, have anything for you to do right now. But I would have tried to find something. But I think, let's call it a day.
There's something to that, though.
You got to hear this one. This is so good. I hate that we have so many stories from Saturday and I keep sharing them all. So
That's great.
So there was there's this lady and we were serving food out there, and so I gave her a meal ticket, said, "Hey, go get a burrito." So she came back to me a couple minutes later and she's like, "Hey, can I get another meal ticket?" I'm like, "Sure, what did you do with the other one?" "Oh, I gave it to my friend." I'm like, "Okay, yeah." And I'm just, even if she didn't, I was going to give her another meal ticket,
Sure.
right? And so she goes, "Shh, shh, shh." And I'm like, "Okay, what?" And she goes, "I gave it to her, but she's also homeless." And I said, "Oh." And she pointed at one of the barbers that was cutting hair.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what? So in my mind, it didn't quite register because all the people that were cutting hair were from the barber college.
Yeah.
They're all there from the barber college as a group.
Sure.
And so I walked over to Brian, who goes to our church, and I said, "Hey, Brian, I just kind of heard this story. Let's go talk to her." So Brian just beelines it right to her. He just wants to know immediately. She's like, "Yeah, I'm without a home right now because I'm putting myself through barber college,
Oh, wow.
and I don't have a place to stay. So I've been living on the
Wow.
streets, and I've been living with these people."
Wow.
But she was there serving.
Wow, isn't that cool?
She was there serving. So it was crazy because God already orchestrated this whole thing. Lauren McCann had just given us, he said, "Hey, I don't know what you're going to do with this money." He gave it to Melanie. And he goes, "I don't know what you're going to do with this extra money, but I feel like you guys have a purpose for this extra money today." Well, we were going to pay for all the supplies for the barbers, and they denied all the money that we were going to give them for supplies. So we were able to take all of that money and
cool,
give
man.
it to her and
That's
pray.
wild.
It was just really, really
That's
cool.
so
But
cool.
it just made me think about just people, again, she's there, man. She
Yeah.
wants to change. She's trying to change her situation. And so there's people
and
that are ready to change.
Also brings up the fact that there are hundreds of thousands of people, if not a million or two, in our country right now that are like one paycheck shy of being
losing their place
out on the streets.
Yeah.
They're struggling. You know what I mean? People that are working full time, working hard, but they're barely able. They're not. There are mothers that aren't eating so they can feed their kids.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time.
You know, I want to comment on something Vince just said. Some time ago, it's probably 3 or 4 years ago, they did a string of videos, and they followed homeless people after they bought them some groceries. And I remember there were several on the internet, and they were notorious for sharing. They followed and said, well, look where they're going, look where they're going. And they go up to a table, and they start taking the stuff out the bread and start sharing it with all their friends. And so I think that's just like, a common thing among a lot of homeless people. They look out for one another. Well, we talked a lot about homeless, and that wasn't even our intention. We didn't even get to the topic that we had put out there.
We did not.
But, anything goes right now. I mean, very often we should turn the microphones on as soon as we walk in here, because we always shoot the breeze about a lot of this kind of stuff. And then we say, okay, now let's do the podcast. We're live. It's time. But maybe we should start it early.
I liked where this went better.
Yeah. Go back and take my bad word out. Can we have time to do that before we have to air it this morning?
We'll make time.
Okay. Well, let's get out of here, and I think come back next week, and maybe we'll be rested up and be able to come up with a topic. But it turned into a topic all by itself. Yeah. Anything else you want to say about the homeless?
I think a little bit matters, and no matter what you're doing in life, whether it's helping homeless people, whether it's praying for a coworker, whether it's loving the people in your own home. Let's start there, right? Mm-hmm. Any little bit matters. Your attitude matters. Your heart matters. How we let God move on your heart. Let Him. To me, that's the real miracle of
God's
my life.
heart is helping people. In fact, I was even going to start talking about this today, and I didn't, but God gave us Isaiah chapter 58. He said, I want you to build a church upon this. And I think if we took him very literally in what he told me at 20-some years of age, and basically, if you're not familiar with Isaiah 58, it says, my people want to have a close relationship with me. They want me to heal them. They want me to speak to them. They want me in their life, and yet they don't do the things I want them to do. And it goes on, and this is really a paraphrase, but they play church. They play church is the way I see it. But if you'll stop playing church and go out and find the homeless, find the orphans, find the widows, and really start pouring your life into helping them, I will become that very God you want me to be.
Yeah, and I think too, like, you can also ask God to change your heart toward the hurting, and I think that happens through loving Him first. Yeah, I mean, Jesus said it,
Yeah, I think that's right. When you really abide in Him and His Word and prayer and worship, and your heart just changes. Mm-hmm. And I think I can speak for all of us here. It's just it's not that we're trying to say, look at what good charitable people we are. Mm-hmm. I think God has put a heart in us where you just can't pass Him up.
And also budget your attention. If your attention is on things that don't matter or are destructive, you're not going to have enough energy to focus on things. Right. There's a reason why with attention you pay attention.
How do any Christians pass somebody up who says I'm hungry?
Commodity. Josh
Shirley, how do Christians pass up anybody
because they're busy
who says I'm hungry?
Because they're busy. I mean, that's at the end of the day, stress and busyness.
Would that bother you though?
Well,
to pass somebody up says, I'm hungry. They're not asking for money. They say, I'm hungry. And
obviously,
you just walk by them?
Obviously it would, unless I'm already extremely bothered by my own life already.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is people are extremely bothered by their lives. That's the story of the Good Samaritan. It's on the other guys who passed them up, right? Like they were too busy and stressed out. Like they had religious things to do.
And even though it's not a value of mine, I mean, come on, if they say they're hungry, and I don't have any time, I might at least give them $20 and just say I'm gonna take a gamble with it, because
it's easy to justify. That's what people do. They go, "Oh, that person made bad decisions. I made good decisions. I'm better than them." And
the other side of it too, you might be listening and you might not have the resources to help financially. You're like, I'm barely getting by.
Right.
And I think in those moments like today, in Serve Week, we realized that not everybody could pay it forward, and so we said, hey. Like offer prayer and then try to find a solution. You could your time, like you said, Josh, like, being able to connect people. Like even if you don't have a resource, maybe you can connect them to somebody that does have a resource.
The Good Samaritan had made enough good decisions in his life to be in a place where he could help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then also we have people that don't carry cash. They just have a credit card with them.
Which is
the
norm.
I think if we thought ahead and kind of was prepared, and like me, I keep some snacks in my car usually. And, that's better than nothing. I say, hey, I got some snacks in my car. I give to you. In fact, I know a lot of people that used to, that at least they've told me they did. They carried little packets in case they see somebody homeless.
So
and it
smart.
might have some scripture stuff in there and a few snacks and a water. And that would be smart if we went around prepared. And I think most of us could afford to do that.
I think so.
But it's just being prepared and ready to be, present in whatever moment you're in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, well, I think we'll get out of here and we'll see you guys hopefully very soon somewhere, or we'll hear from you or something. So we love you. And if you have any topics you want to hear about, just send them in to us, because we'd like to talk about them.
Yep.
So out of here.
Alrighty.
You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel alright. The kind you wanna stay up with all night. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel whole. They won't leave your side when you lose control. The ones that don't let you lose your soul.